So, Marina, tell me about her first.
Excited about her athletic middle blocker that just loves the game, comes from a great family. I think that she comes in and stays in line what I'm always looking for with the middles, them being a little bit different and bringing something different to the table, but highly athletic.
What's her difference?
She can go behind the setter. I think that's something we've missed a little bit, and we're still working on it. We're getting there, but at the end of the day, I want someone that is a natural middle going back there, and so she has the ability to just go behind and score.
And I mean, in the past, you've kind of been scrambling, trying to look for the portal or moving people around, to get your four middles. So,
I'm going to have 5 now.
right. And what does that do for you?
I think it helps a lot in the gym in terms of practice. It helps in terms of being flexible, and then you'll have maybe one that's similar to someone else, but then bringing something different to the table.
And last week I asked you about people who commit later, and she's one who committed later. So what was that process like?
She came to camp. She came to our DTC camp and just wanted to be involved. And I mean, she came in, stood out, which is exactly what you will want to happen in that environment. And just excited about her. I think, and I tell everyone when I'm recruiting middles, I don't want them to look alike. I want them to be different for a reason. I think it's hard to prepare for middles that are just different, but I think she brings a lot to the table in terms of what Journey does, in terms of her broad shoulders. I think that's something that is advantageous for us.
What is it about middles that makes them so hard to get? Is it just the size or what?
Well, it's a little bit of everything. It's the size, it's the hand-eye coordination, it's whether they are better in front or behind. I want athletic and I want coachable. Those two things, we can do some stuff.
And then Gigi, she's a pretty highly regarded libero. So tell me about her.
Someone who only knows how to win, which, goes back in line with what we were looking for when we brought that, what is now the sophomore class coming in. She'll be playing in the state finals on Saturday, which is really exciting. Club team is absolutely phenomenal. A lot of D1 prospects on that team, but she gets it. She's a lot like Avery in the sense that she's always reaching out and saying, here are my numbers, this is what's going on, what are you doing here? And it's what you would want from a recruit.
And then you've got Hayden. Tell me about her.
Hayden does a little bit of everything. She's just, I don't mean it in a bad way. She's just like a guy. She comes in there, no nonsense, does her job. You want me to do this? Okay, I'll do it. You want me to do this? Okay, I got that. And I think that's something that helps us out a lot. The nice thing about Hayden is that she'll be here in January. So she's graduating high school early, come in, get acclimated, which we see the benefits that Carly reaped as coming in early. So pretty excited about that.
She's a little bit bigger, isn't she?
She's a legit 6'1". I think we will say she's 6'2", but she's about 6'1", and she can play on either pin, which is really nice. Give us some depth on the outside.
So, that's another thing. You like around 6 pins, right?
Yes. 6 rotation players, that's something I developed from Dave, and just being able to keep them on the floor in the back row and be able to score. So you want them to be able to function, and she can actually pass, which is really nice.
So the other two will come in the summer and she'll
Yes.
come in January.
Yes.
When you were putting together this class, what did you want from it?
I wanted athletes to continue that mindset of those who win, competitors, those that can play the game. I just think volleyball is so different now that you don't have a lot of time to train in terms of getting arm swings better, or if a player was goofy-footed, it's just really hard. So you have to be willing to allow them to do what they do and be successful and live with it. I'm not really able to live with some bad habits, so I want to get players in that, one, want to be here, two, that are physically good enough to be here. And, the nice thing with Gigi, she's going to come in and push right away to be someone that's on the floor.
And then getting to this year's team, talk to Avery. And what have you seen from her relationship with Brian?
With
Ryan.
Oh, I think she's embraced it. I don't think she pushed back right away in terms of, okay, here's this guy to kind of tell me what to do and why. I think that she's a competitor, and so she's willing to do whatever is necessary. And I think her game has gotten better as a result of him being in her ear all the time.
And, for a young setter, when there's a lot of different people she's setting for because of the way you've been rotating, what are the challenges for her and how has she, kind of addressed them?
Well, the challenge that any setter will run into is, okay, this is the right person to set because that's who the person is versus this is the right person to set versus the spot they're in. I think that the more she has a relationship with her teammates, the more she's comfortable and they're more forgiving and she's more forgiving, and which makes a better unit for us. But one of the things that Avery is capable of doing is put the ball in different rhythms to the different hitters. And I think that's a pretty hard task, but she's embraced it.
What'd you take out of that ASU match?
I thought we played better against ASU up there than we did at home. I thought that we were right in it in the fourth set. We had our chances. I think that they definitely raised the bar as the match went on. I thought that Renee struggled, which changed the dynamics of things, but it was nice that Britt was ready to go in and still give us the size that we needed to be at the net to slow it down. And when you're a team that runs an offense as fast as ASU runs it, you have to have a physical presence there just to get them to think and alter just a little bit. So walked away frustrated that we didn't go to 5 because, I thought we at least had the ability to do that, but happy that we didn't give up. That first set was rough. But we came back and responded in the second set, which was really important for them.
What do you think happened in that first set?
Honestly, I don't know the answer to that. I did not ask, and because I don't want it to happen again. But I think that, they had over 7,000 people there, and, crowds do different things. But we've played in front of large crowds before, even this year. So anything I say would probably be an excuse, so I don't really know why.
And you played BYU just recently. Avery was saying that they kind of still remember what they do, but what are the challenges of playing them so soon?
Well, I don't know that it is a challenge in playing them so soon as much as playing in their gym is just unlike any other gym that we play in the Big 12. I think that their fans are definitely someone that's in the gym, making sure that they're there at all times. I think that, BYU is a great team. At any point they can take off and be really great. And, they just lost to Utah in a reverse sweep, which, wow, type thing. So I know that they're hungry and ready to go. And, everyone at this point is trying to put themselves in the best position possible to be invited to the tournament. I don't think any one of us has taken anything for granted here. So I expect it to be a good match. I know they know what we do. And the nice part about it is we played them so recently. We know exactly what they do as well.
Utah, what have you seen from them since you guys played a long time ago in comparison? So what is different now?
Well, I think that, Utah is still battling. They're competing. They haven't let up at all. I think that they were a team that everyone projected to be really good this year, and I think they still have a lot to prove in that sense. Like, they're like, yeah, don't forget we did this. Don't forget we just beat BYU. So that it kind of puts everyone on notice. Not that I think there's any match this year where anyone is like, oh, that's an easy team, And so they're saying, respect us. They want nothing more than to disrupt what everyone else is doing, And I'm not even sure. I think their RPI is still up there. So are they still in the running? I don't know the answer to that question, but I would like to think their whole mindset is to finish out strong, and we'll see what happens.
And I mean, for you, how much is the tournament on your mind?
It's been on my mind since last year, that Sunday. So if I say that it's not, then I'm not being honest. But I'm not allowing it to dictate who I am or how we actually work as a group. And so it's just a reminder to the players that, we do everything that we're capable of doing. We put ourselves in a position, and at the end of the day, it's out of our control because the process in terms of who they select hasn't been consistent. I don't know that it's ever been consistent. One year talking to Dave, he was like, oh yeah, they'll use the RPI to, for your favor, and then other times they'll use it against you. And so I don't know enough about the ins and outs of it, but I do know where we stand. I do know where we are in KPI. I don't understand how they're so drastically different. And maybe that's just ranks up there with astronomy, something else I don't understand in life. I'll just run with it.
And these last 4 matches, at least, I mean, the trip up there is kind of contained in a general area, and then you get to come home. So what is it like to finally get those those bad travel weeks out of the way?
I don't have a understanding how the scheduling actually worked out, and it's nice that we're on the back end of all of the madness in the travels that we had to go through. But even then, we're flying into Salt Lake City, driving to Provo, and, staying there and then going back down to Salt Lake City. So there's still some movement taking place, but it's nice that we're in one state, and we're in control of how we drive. So that part helps out a lot. And then coming home for Thanksgiving, I think that, that's nice. And then we have senior night, but we're also Utah senior night. So we do know that there's things that come with that.
And the Big 12 has been very strong as far when you look at our PI this year. What is your experience in this second year with the league?
It is very unpredictable. We sat back and I look at how we ranked each team preseason and how it doesn't really look like that now. And so you sit back and you kind of wonder why, and were we inaccurate the way we voted, because you can kind of see the numbers afterwards and we're all pretty much aligned in terms of our agreement of it. And what I've just learned is schedule as tough as you can in preseason and go out there and get those wins, and let's continue to make our conference a conference that people are like, okay, let's put the Big 12 on notice. They're the type of teams that we want to play. And that's what happened last year. After we won the NIVC, schools were calling us to say, hey, can we play you? You want to be on that receiving end.
And what do you see from your program over the 3 years you've...
Funny enough, I was talking to Anna about that first year, and I was like, it was rough. She was going, I'm so glad you said that, because that first year was rough. And she goes, it was kind of like a first-year head coach, huh, Rita? And I was like, oh, it was definitely like a first-year head coach. And I wasn't offended by it. There was just so many moving pieces. You don't know what you don't know until you're in that situation. But I sat back and was talking to her, and then I was talking to Brooke, because I'm going to speak at the AVCA convention, and I don't really ever think I have a lot of things that's noteworthy. And she was like, oh, you need to talk about this. And so one of the things that we talk about, and I talk about with my staff, is I'm able to be who I am, be the authentic Rita, because of my staff. And, having a group of people that I can say, hey, you take care of this, and I don't have to look over my shoulder to wonder if they're doing it or if they're doing it with the right motives, is reassuring. And I say it to everyone. The 2 hardest things about being a head coach, you're, first going out, is scheduling and hiring. I mean, you do those wrong and you're out of there real fast. And so I'm grateful for the staff that I have in terms of letting them walk in their strengths so that I can walk in mine and run from things I don't like.
Was there extra pressure because this is your alma mater?
Yes. But it's the pressure that I probably put on myself. And, I still get kind of freaked out when people go, hey, Rita, I'm turning like, how do you know who I am? Type thing. And I was like, you're the volleyball coach. We know you. And so it's exciting in that sense. But there's a lot of younger kids that are saying, oh my gosh, she looks up to you. I was at the state tournament on Saturday, and a young lady come up to me and her dad, and he was like, oh, she just wanted to meet you. And I'm like, hi, type thing. And, can't talk to you, but hi. So that part is surreal for me, and everything that I do is bleeding red and blue and wanting my school to be the best, because, we have a good group of people here. I think about our coaches and just the unit that we have, and going out and celebrating women's basketball yesterday. That was like really cool. And then Becky sends me a message saying, thanks, Rita. And I'm like, wow, that's awesome. But I am sad for Saturday. We get back and the football team plays at 11, and I normally work gate 3. Quit. And I see coach walking up, and I always go, let's go, let's go. So I won't be there to cheer him on for that part. So I got to figure out how to get him a message.
Great. Well, I think that covers it.
Thank you. I appreciate you.